Minecraft 1.21 has a brand new snapshot, and this is kind of a good one, guys. It's not huge as the trial chambers, but it's also quite significant because it adds an item which kind of change how you play. There are friendly boys over here called the Breeze. These things were added, I think, when the trial chambers were first introduced, and up until now they have not actually dropped anything. That's all about to change. So if we were to lay this guy out, we will get some wind charges. And actually, I did this very poorly. We need to actually find out how many it drops. So apparently, according to the changelog, they drop around 6 to 8. So if we were to keep killing him, this guy dropped 4, so the changelog was just a bunch of lies, apparently. We'll try that again. But what do you actually do with these wind charges, I hear you ask? Well, this is actually kind of cool. So the wind charges will act as if you are the Breeze yourself. So it's a projectile. It is consumable. So you will throw it, and obviously if you were in survival, it will go from 10 to 9. Obviously we're in creative, so we have an infinite amount. So we would just keep shooting all of these, and we would basically be pushing mobs back. I do actually have some very special victims or volunteers with us here today, and basically if you just shoot it directly, it will not only do damage, but it will also push mobs back. And I tried this earlier. It will basically give, this will take a while, basically. So it's not a weapon kind of thing. You can kill them, but it takes a long time. But you can push mobs with them. So sorry, Armadillo, you're about to be lobbed off the edge. So what's the main purpose of these wind charges? Well, the wind charges are actually kind of like a movement item. So for the first time ever, we have an item which basically affects how we play. So in the past, if there was, say we were being chased by a bunch of mobs, the only other option you would have would be to run away or swim away or whatever. But you could never actually escape vertically. This item will allow you to do just that. And I've got a kind of like a pit of horror down here, and there would be no actual way of making that jump. However, if we had this, we could just do that. It takes a little bit of practice. So for what I'm doing to get that height, I click space and then I use this. People have gotten some insane heights. In fact, I've got a contraption just over there which I took from Reddit. Shout out to the guy who made it. I've got a sign with his username on over here, and you're able to get some very nice height with it. So it takes a while to get used to it, and you can have some insane distance from it. So it works. It like you can get up there, and it's not really much for traversing, but to get like height, it works really well. And this does obviously work the same way as the Breeze does, so like that. So it does actually trigger trapdoors and stuff. I did initially think it would trigger redstone though, so I think I may have mixed it up with the Breeze. Like, does the Breeze trigger like lamps and stuff? I'm not sure. So I've got a dispenser here because the dispensers actually can dispense the wind charges. It doesn't dispense them as items. It dispenses it as the actual thing itself. So if we were to shoot it, it can trigger the trapdoor. And obviously it doesn't. I thought it would trigger the other one because I wanted to do like an infinite loop thing. It doesn't work like that. But what it does actually, what it can do, however, which I've noticed when I did this before, it doesn't do it in a straight line, because there are times where it would just miss it. Like the Minecraft wind is blowing the wind charge out the way, so it's not necessarily a straight line, which I think is quite interesting. It sort of goes in any direction like an arrow foot. So that was just the little bit down. I want to see if I can get it towards the right. Okay, so we got it above, but yeah, it kind of just sort of goes wherever, not necessarily a straight line. Not sure if that's a bug or not, but it's something that's interesting. Another thing I should mention is that whilst these are consumable things, so they will go down, they are also on a 1.5 second delay. So a bit like the ender pearls, you can't just spam them multiple times. You've got to like wait a few seconds. So you can see the cooldown in my hotbar down below. So that is just something just to keep an eye on. So here we have Michael 23B's little contraption. He calls it the human catapult. So I saw this on Reddit, and I thought that this could be something that's quite useful. I'm not sure whether the height is a bug or not. I kind of hope it isn't, because the parkour implementations for this is so unique that I think I've not seen anything like it probably since the slime blocks were actually introduced. So if you do a contraption like this, so slab, dispensers, planks with redstone around it, and obviously you fill each of one of these up with wind charges, if you click the button, you go super high. And I want to see if I can hit the slime blocks. Yeah, awesome. So I can see the parkour maps. I'm not a parkour player myself, but I would actually probably try and give this a go. It's something that's really cool. And the parkour maps are already being made. Like I'm probably just going to have a small box like playing right now of a guy on Reddit just already making this amazing jumping map, which it just amazes me the stuff people come up with so quickly. And this came out today, literally today, so that's kind of unique. Another big thing that the Snapshot advertised in the changelog is stuff to do with the hoppers. Now, just gonna hand on heart tell the truth, I have never really dabbled in the hoppers before. So this change wasn't something that I didn't even realize was a thing. But apparently, in the past, if you would have a solid block on top of a hopper, the items would still be sucked by the hopper, which I think from what it sounds like a bug. Doesn't really sound like something that should have been a thing. But now in 1.21, if you stuck like an item of whatever kind on it on a full block, it would no longer be sucked in by the hopper. See, nothing's in the chest. Nothing should be in the chest. So apparently in the past, people have actually tried to fix this by putting a composter on top of the hoppers. Apparently you no longer have to do that, but this also means any mechanics people have done to try and work their way around this, or if this has been a thing people have had in their contraptions, it's now kind of broke, because items are no longer able to be absorbed by the hopper. I was worried about the implementations of the carpet and the hopper. Because the carpet is not a full block, it can still be absorbed by the hopper. So the carpet on the hopper, I think half slabs on the hopper, trapdoors on the hopper, that they still work. It's just full blocks, Mojang said. So any full blocks whatsoever will no longer work, which is how it should technically have been. So I think this is something that's actually been out for a few weeks now, especially for Java. But wolf armor and armadillos, they are now on the Java snapshot. I'm not sure how long they've been here for, but I know when I did the video, it was back in the Bedrock version. So if you want to see a more in-depth overview on the wolf armor and the armadillos, you can go check the playlist in the description. It should still be on there. But they are now on Java now. So I just want to go over a couple of things because some things have been tweaked. For example, the wolf armor now has a new texture both in the hotbar and on the dogs themselves. So for example, the wolf armor on the dogs, you can basically tell if you watch the previous video, it is significantly different. The color palette is much more lighter than darker. It's kind of like this fleshy tone. It's very old school leather armor. If you guys remember the leather armor from back in alpha, it was much lighter. It kind of makes it feel like it's going to be dyeable, which I kind of hope it is. And I've literally just got two here just so you can see what they're like with the different colors, because I don't think I actually took a look at that. But The item itself in the hotbar, if you can see, it is different. They have changed the icon look, so that is just something to keep an eye on. The armadillo scoots are exactly the same texture. The armadillos have actually had a slew of new animations, and in fact, I'm just going to quote Mojang exactly from the changelog. Armadillos are just about done. So they're not going to change. They're going to add anything. If they're going to do anything armadillo related, it is going to be purely bug fixes at this stage. Right now, they're now going to be focusing on the wolf armor and the wolf stats and stuff. That's the stuff that needs to be tweaked. Apparently, armadillos apparently are done. So what you're going to see here is practically going to be the finished version of them. So if we get a couple of them here, I can't remember what they looked like before, but they may have had a texture change. They may be a bit lighter, but whatever it is, they now have a new state called peaking. So in the past, when you were to panic them, they would just panic up and then they would just go about their day. They no longer do that. They now, when they are in terror mode, which is this, they kind of peek out, which is a cool animation. So they sort of look out and they just sort of pop out, which is really cute. They do the same thing if you were to be a monster and hurt them. They would hide, and it takes them significantly longer to actually look out. So, yeah, look at that. They're now a very, very adorable little peeking animation, and they also make some really cute sounds as well. I'm not sure if you could hear that, but yeah, it's very cute. But nothing else, as far as I'm aware, have actually changed with them. They just sort of peek out now, which is a very cute animation and probably one of the more in-depth animations that they've done for a mob. Wolves have actually had a little bit of a buff for the first time in, I think, since they were added. Obviously, as the sandbox of Minecraft changes, things have to be up with the times, because these were released back in like beta. So the wolves' health has actually been doubled. So in the past, they used to have, according to this, the wolves used to have 20 health points, which is 10 hearts. Now they are up there with the player, so they have 40 health, 20 heart. Excuse me. So wolves are significantly tankier. There is no change to their damage, so they still do the same amount of damage. They just have doubled the health, the same as the player. Obviously, with the armor included with that, they be very tanky boys now. Very, very, very tanky boys. And according to this, they no longer take half of the damage from most environmental sources like they used to. In most cases, this change will make no difference given the health boost, but now they can withstand more damage from players and arrows. And plus, feeding a wolf now heals twice as many hit points. So, for those of you that love your wolves, you probably love them even more. So, there's going to be less wolf death in the game starting from June, because I'm assuming this update will come out in June. Final couple things I just want to mention. The trial vault, like the vault block, has actually had a bit of a texture change. I didn't know they added the trial vault stuff. Apparently they added it a couple of weeks ago. I just didn't know, so I might do a video on that in the future. I just need to read up on it. So the vault now has a texture change, because in the past, this block was here. It just wasn't usable. Or it was usable, it just wasn't it just wasn't it didn't look basically how it looks now. In the past, it looked very much like the trial spawner. They've changed it so there's a very big difference, and it has kind of like a cool little animation on the inside if we take a look in there. So it now has like a rotation of items. I've not actually seen this myself. This is the first time I had to go down to a trial chamber. So I'm going to do a whole video on that, because it's kind of cool, and it's much cooler than I initially thought it would. So that's something to think about. Other than that, I think that is just about it. There's a few changes involving bug fixes. There's a whole list of exactly the wind item itself with the Y block values and fall damage and stuff, which I'll probably link the whole changelog in the description down below, because it's way too in-depth for a video. But if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think Mojang are going to add any more stuff? I'm thinking maybe just a couple more things, but I think right now we're on the final bug fixing stage. This is literally just a kind of be all end all type of thing. We just need the name of the update, and they said that there is a few more things to be added with the wolves themselves. I'm not sure if that's fixes or if they are going to add armor dies. I think it's the thing that they are missing at this point to make this update whole. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Adieu.